Hello everyone and welcome back. Well, now it's time to start touching some code and have some fun configuring our monitoring resources using monitoring as code. We are going to start in doing that by using the Terraform, the Coralogix Terraform provider. Before we start using Terraform Coralogix provider, we need to ensure that we have a proper API key with right permissions to allow us manage resources using the Coralogix API. Now you can see my screen. I have my Coralogix account over here. This is my personal account, so we don't have anything over here. And we are going to configure an API key with the proper permissions to manage alerts, parsing rules, recording rules, and events to metrics, okay? So to achieve that, let's go on the top right, click on my nickname and go to settings. Then on the left side, you should be able to see keys. Remember to manage the API keys on your Coralogix account, you must have permissions to do that. So if you don't have, ask your Coralogix account admin to allow you manage those informations, okay? I have everything that I need over here because this is my personal account. So I'm basically the owner of this account. So next step is creating a team key. So I will create a team key named Coralogix Terraform provider. Why am you might be asking why I'm creating this API key? Well, it's a best practice to ensure that you have specific API keys for each application it's communicating to the Coralogix APIs using your account. This allows you to reduce the repo impact in case of any API key leak. So the people that's leaking this information, getting this API key, will not be able to do anything much broader on your account since you have specific API keys with specific permissions. And another benefit of that is if you need to rotate any API key, we are only impacting the applications using this API key. In our case, the Coralogix Terraform provider. So let's start defining some permissions. I will allow manage alerts, but for example, I don't need to manage flow alerts, okay? So I will remove flow alerts over here. Let's also add some permission to, I don't know, maybe manage and creating events to metrics. Also, we're going to use outbound webhooks because when we're creating alerts, we probably want to deliver those alerts to a specific destination like Slack channel or PagerDuty. I will also permit this API key manage parsing rules and recording rules. And I think it's everything for now. We already have over 20 permissions. It's like quite interesting permissions we have here. We can manage a lot of resources using this API key and the Terraform provider. I just need to click on create. I will copy the API key and then it's done. Now we can start configuring the Terraform provider to use this API key. Well, if we go to the Terraform registry and search by Coralogix, you will be able to see the Coralogix provider. Over here, you have all the required documentation to understanding how to manage many different resources and what are the options that you have available for each one of those resources, okay? I will not go through all those options during this course. It will be a very straightforward just to show you how to configure the Coralogix Terraform provider and how to manage like simple resources using the Coralogix Terraform provider and the API key that we just created, okay? So, but feel free to go over it and it's a very insightful documentation. Now, let's go back to the VS Code. On the VS Code, we are going to start in creating a Terraform file named main.tf. Inside this main.tf Terraform file, we will start by defining the providers that we want to use. In this case, is the Terraform one. Okay. The second part of the code we want to define, is creating the configure the Terraform provider to use the API key we just created. Okay, so API underscore key, And also we need to specify the environment, I mean the region we are gonna use. So I will just copy the API key over here and paste. In this case, the account I'm using right now, it's placed on Europe 1. So I will define Europe 1. On our Terraform provider documentation, you have a list of regions, okay, based on the DNS and the region you're running. You can figure out what region you should choose. Okay, this is everything for now. We are just gonna run a specific command to initialize the Terraform provider, which is the Terraform init. What's gonna happen right now is we're going to downloading all the dependencies that we have from the Coralogix provider and have everything prepared to run the next commands to create and manage resources. So Terraform init, it's downloading the resources, okay, the Terraform provider, and as we can see right now, we have the required information over here. Well, before we finish this video, I would like to highlight that we are only adding the API key straight away to the plain Terraform code, because this is a demo proposal, okay? This is not a production ready code. Like, ensure that when you're using your Terraform provider in production, you are reading the API key from a secret file, so you are proper handling that. You don't have it stored in your source code control, okay? So this is everything for now. The next video, we will see how to configure an alert and outbound webhook using the Coralogix Terraform provider. See you there.